and welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast. Well, the Lion series is done and dusted for another 4 years, and we're straight back in to the Rugby Championship. Harry is not here this week, so feel better soon, bud. But we've drafted in our good friend that we covered with the Lions. Finn's back. How you getting on, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. It's the Lions feels like a long time ago, but also not that long ago at all. It's we're in a bit of rugby purgatory at the moment too, right? Not too much going
Yeah.
on. Good to have some code back this weekend and then Women's World Cup next week too.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I mean, that this last 10 days, shall we say, have been really boring.
Yeah.
Not much to talk about apart from Louis Rees-Zammit coming back from the NFL.
Mhm.
And then we've got the Rugby Championship, which is our main focus today, and it's kind of fun because, well, for me, I'm not biased to any of the countries in the Rugby Championship, so it's going to be quite fun. I can be impartial. If something's wrong, I could say that. I can't just, don't know how I feel about
You can speak your mind, mate.
that. There you go. Yeah.
Well, I was born in New Zealand, Kiwi parents, but grew up in Australia, so I try to be impartial as well. But I've got some foot in some camps here as well, right? So
Well,
some big games this week, mate. So I think it's a good opportunity for the Wallabies in particular to try and ride off that high of the Lions series, that third test, even the second test, which was, obviously quite a valiant performance and impressive performance in itself. But can they do it at altitude? Emirates Airline Park, Ellis Park, against the
yeah.
two-time defending Rugby World Cup champion Springboks. I said this on radio a couple of days ago, but this is a bigger test for the Wallabies in my view. I think the Springboks in South Africa a bigger challenge than versus the Lions. So daunting task, exciting one. Can they get up?
Well, we're going to talk about the team because Joe Schmidt's named a very experienced squad, I'll say. But I
Hmm.
don't know if he's going the right way about it. So front row, James Slipper, Billy Pollard, and Taniela Tupou. Yeah, makes sense with all the injuries they've got. No complaints there.
No, I mean I think David Parecki retiring post Lions is such a big blow for the Wallabies as well, right? Like Billy Pollard, very much on the rise,
Mhm.
very good at super level with the Brumbies, but man, David Parecki. To be fair, he hadn't played Test rugby for like 2 years before playing
Yeah.
Fiji, I think in June or whatever it was. But big loss. But man, tell you what, Mario, I love Nella there actually. I think, like a lot of people, I think I've noticed Taniela's performances over the last couple of seasons, few seasons, and I've been critical of that at times. I think with good merit. But his performance against the Lions in Sydney, man, he made a bit of a statement, I think, and
Yeah, of course.
can he do
Yeah.
that against the Box now?
It's going to be interesting for sure because that front row for the box, Oxen and Che, Malcolm Marks,
Hmm.
and Thomas Dutoit. Oh my God, like that's frightening. That's a terrifying set. Well, Volkolo, sorry, not Thomas Dutoit. Made that mistake. But still, massive human beings.
They're big boys over there, aren't they?
Yeah.
The Springboks, it helps when you're that large and mobile that you can be one of the best teams in the world, or in their case, the best team in the world.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And I think the interesting thing is, we've known their team since Monday, right? Rasi pulling out all the
Yeah.
tricks once again, and it's not uncommon for him to announce his teams on Tuesdays, but to move it one day earlier, I think if I've got my time zones right, I'm on holiday, so I'm trying to keep track of all this stuff. But but for him to announce it even extra early,
Yeah.
that's Rasi. That's the Rasi way, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
sure. Mhm.
never predictable.
I mean, we're. I could. I think I could speak on behalf of like everyone that does a podcast, everyone that
Hmm.
content creates rugby. We're all sitting nice, chilled out on a Monday,
Hmm.
and then your phone goes off, and here's your Springboks team. Like, sorry,
Yeah.
it's Monday, but
Yeah. Did did
yeah,
someone click post too early? That's
yeah.
probably
That's.
what it felt like, right?
I was actually expecting it to go up and then like immediately be deleted. Like, oh
Yeah.
no, like didn't mean to do that.
No, I mean
Yeah.
they've had a lot of time to think about this, the Box, right? I mean, even we'll get onto the All Blacks in Argentina in a minute too, but like the Wallabies versus the Lions was more recent than when these other teams played their Test matches, right? So the Box they've had probably 3 4 weeks to think about this Wallabies game. Rasi's probably known his team for 2 weeks. a week and a half. Why,
Probably, yeah.
why not pull trigger and just announce the team? I mean,
Good point.
yeah, I mean, it's a very good team, and
Uh,
no task is too daunting for the Springbok side, and they are, yeah, good on them.
I'm very excited about the battle of the back rows. So Springboks, Marco van Staden on the blind side, Peter Stefan on the open side, but they switch. I don't get it, but I'll still say it like that. And Captain Sia Khaleesi at the eight.
Yeah,
And then for the Wallabies, you've got Tom Hooper, who I still can't believe is joining my Exeter Chiefs. I'm so ready for that. What a
yeah,
signing he's going to be. Fraser McRae, one of the best open sides on the planet, and Captain Harry Wilson at the eight. Like they can go pound for pound, and I'm ready to watch that battle.
yeah. I think Tom Hooper, just like Nella, made a statement in that third test, right? Player of the match.
Yeah,
You can't really critique him for his performance in that one, especially considering he came in with big shoes to fill. Rob Valentini out of that third test against the Lions after a fairly impressive opening 40 in the second test. Tom Hooper's picked the third blindside in as many games for the Wallabies, and he put on a show. So yeah, the Brumbies loss is Exeter's game for next season. So
that's fair.
Mario, mate, I'm glad to see you're happy about that one. It's a bit of an Australian feel, I think, up north at Exeter, right, with
Oh, we love, yeah, we love the
Ekatow
Wallabies.
also heading that way. Nick White's played there before. Like
Nick
it's
White's been there. Scott Seals there.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's, yeah,
we'll love them. More the merrier.
man.
Bring Bobby V over. Why not?
Yeah. I'm sure we can arrange that, right? I'm sure he'd love to. So,
That'd be great.
but then McWright and Harry Wilson, I'm actually going to say I think on potential, both very good players, and I think Harry is the best captain for the Wallabies. Is he the best number eight though? And I think every time he ran the ball against the Lions, I don't think he was that dominant in contact. I thought he was driven back more often than not, and he worked really hard. And you have to give a guy some credit for that. But he needs to be more dominant. I think that's what made Rob Valentini so successful over the last 2, 3 seasons in particular, is that every time he runs the ball, he's getting over the gain line. Harry just wasn't able to do that as often as I think as Australians we would have liked. And I think
Okay.
Fraser was fairly quiet in the first and second tests as well. So I think the challenge for those two, those three, if you want to include Tom Hooper, is can you do it on arguably the biggest stage outside of a Rugby World Cup and a Lions series, taking on the Springboks at Ellis Park? It just made its rugby poetry, isn't it?
As. And then we're now getting to this strange part of the selection, especially on
Yeah,
the Wallabies end.
yeah,
Nick White, who last time I checked retired against the Lions, but
yeah.
30 hours later he's straight back in. And first test start in 3 years, and first test start against the Springboks in over 1,000 days. James O'Connor's back at the 10.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know where to
Hmm.
start. So let's start with Nick White because the shortest retirement in Test rugby history has to be he
Has to be.
retired on I think it was the Wednesday or the
Hmm.
Tuesday of the Test week of the third Test week against
Hmm.
the Lions. There were reports Wednesday, Thursday night that he might have to backflip because of injuries and stuff, and obviously it's since been proven to be the case. He was very good in that third test against the Lions as well, right? So like in a way but that performance justifies that the game hasn't yet left him, like leave the game before it leaves you type thing. We've all heard that
Yeah.
before as sports fans. Nick White is still very much a test quality nine. So I think considering the injuries to Jake Gordon, I think this just makes sense. Considering Ryan Lonergan's also in the squad now, but he hasn't played a test yet. So it's not like you're going to start him. You could start Tate McDermott, but that said, Tate is such an impactful, dangerous bench option that maybe letting Tate focus on that role as a position in its own right is a good move for Joe Schmidt and the Wallabies. Uh, but then, yeah, you look at 10 and James O'Connor going in there. The reports earlier this week, when I first saw that, I was very confused. And that's
Yeah,
putting it
we
lightly. I
spoke
think
about it. Yeah.
yeah, like Joe's spoken a lot throughout the Lions series about we're building, and it led some of the British press to kind of question Joe and go, well, do you not see the Lions series as the finish line of sorts? Because it is a once in a 12 years series. It's supposed to be this big thing, the Holy Grail outside of a World Cup. And it seemed that the Wallabies were focused on building into the next World Cup, where keep in mind that Joe Schmidt's not going to be there. Les Kiss, of course, taking
Yeah.
over next year. But injury crisis. That's the
Mhm.
most simple, perfect way to put a label on this situation with the Wallabies at the moment at first five at fly half. Noel Olesio, injured against Fiji and Newcastle. Tom Liner picked up a head knock in that third test. Of course, Dan Sheehan with the clean out. And it's been reported that, Ben Donaldson picked up an injury this week in South Africa. So I would love to know whether James was going to start at 10 if Donaldson was fit. If he was, then I think that's a rant for another day because that's big that there's so many questions that come off that. But you'd have to think at the moment, Donaldson, Liner, Lolosio out. O'Connor's just spent 3 weeks in camp. Um,
Mhm.
it makes sense. But that said,
It does.
Tane Edmund, very good for the AUNZ Invitational 15 against the Lions in Adelaide. He's just signed for the
Mhm.
Brumbies. He played 4 minutes for the Wallabies last year, I think, against Ireland in Dublin on debut. He's been in that system before. He was involved in a wider training squad in the lead up to that Fiji test.
Mhm.
But I think he's expected, from what Joe said, I think Tane's expected to get a run next week. They just want to give him another week in the squad
Right.
in the camp. So confusing, Murray, James O'Connor in there.
Very
But
confused. Yeah. I'm more confused at the 6-2 spot on the bench because, like you've just said, there's no Lolosio, there's no Tom Lynott, there's no Ben Donaldson.
yeah.
Who the hell's covering 10 if James O'Connor goes off?
Okay, are you ready? It's Nick
I'm
White.
ready.
Nick White and Andrew Callaway are the two front runners,
Okay.
I guess you would say.
Okay.
But I did see a comment today. I actually sent it, obviously, I think you're referring to this. I sent you a comment to you and Harry just before Joe Schmidt saying Nick Champion de Crepney, Carlo Tizzano, and Hunter Paisami all played 10 and under 20s and then shifted to 12. It, it,
You know what, right?
it-
Go for it. If there's nothing left in the game,
yeah,
if it's an absolute blowout, put Champion de Crepney at 10. Because
no.
why not? At that point, why not? Fuck it, it'll be funny.
Yeah, it'd be funny, but like if the Wallabies are getting pantsed, then it wouldn't be funny because you have to keep in mind, Murray, like in Australia, rugby is not the number one sport. It's probably fifth or
No,
sixth. It's so competitive, the sporting landscape. We know this. This is such a overdrawn,
no.
constant narrative within the Australian sporting landscape is the state of rugby union. But the success of the Wallabies in that second test against the Lions and how controversial it was at the end seemed to kind of generate this genuine interest in the sport down under. And then the third test, they go there in front of more than 80,000 fans at Stadium Australia and they beat four nations. They beat the Lions. Like, I think there's a real buzz about Australian rugby right now, and with good reason. But all it takes is one bad performance, mate. It's just
That's true.
it's the
Yeah.
state of the sport in this country. So for that reason, I would have to say, bizarrely, and I never thought I'd mutter these words, Joe Schmidt, please don't put Nick Champion de Crepney at fly half.
Yeah, no, don't do it. But it'd give us all a laugh, I think.
Yeah, the neutral.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
neutral would give a laugh. There is one
yeah,
name that just never came up in this conversation, despite playing 10 when he was younger. Tom Wright. To me, that makes more sense.
yeah. Well, yeah, it does. I think he played 5, 6 games as a playmaker in the NRL as well. So
There you go.
like he's an option. He reads the game very well. You would think it makes more sense. You're right to put Tom Wright at 10, and then Callaway comes straight on at 15.
Yeah.
Um, but look, in Joe Schmidt we trust. I think that's the approach we've got to take. And I'd love to see the Wallabies do a job this weekend and a performance that Australians can be proud of. And will they win? I don't think so. Strictly because altitude. We saw last year, I was there at Ellis Park for the All Blacks Springboks, and the All Blacks, real good fight, but 20 minutes to go, they ran out of gas. And I think
Yeah.
it'll be a similar story this week, unfortunately. And, even in the locks, you think of someone like Will Skelton, how much footy can he actually play at altitude? Like
Sure. Yeah.
how long can he actually stay on the park for? So, like,
Although, you did, just because you've said him, Even Etzebeth versus Will Skelton.
Oh, tasty.
Go
Yeah,
for
how
it,
good's that?
boys. Let the gloves off and just go for it.
Yeah, I think that was Skelton's approach in the second and third lines test, right?
Yeah,
Bit of niggle, he
yeah,
got in their faces pretty early, and I think it'll be a similar story. And I think that's what you have to do against someone like Eben Etzebeth. Not to get under his skin necessarily. I mean, it's kind of like that, but it's more so just like showing them, hey, I'm here.
yeah.
I'm going to annoy the hell out of you for the next 40 minutes at least, maybe 50 or 60. It's who doesn't want to see that? This is the clash of the Titans, clash of the two of the biggest boys in world rugby, and Skelton's very quickly becoming such a leader within that Wallabies environment. Again, keep in mind he captained the Wallabies at the World Cup in 23 before he got injured, but his physical presence about him, Murray, like those lines tests, you could see it from the sidelines, from where I was sitting. Like he just had this aura about him. Genuinely, it was pretty cool.
He is a big lad, in fairness. So
Yeah,
yeah, we'll give
yeah.
him that.
I've stood next to Will at press conferences before, and you can't tell, but I'm about 5'8" on a good day. So
Oh, yeah.
it,
Oh
it
no.
it it puts me to shame a little bit.
Oh God. Well, before we move on to the next game, just predictions, because I, like you said, it could be tight. I do have a Springboks win here. I think it. I think, like you said, the altitude's going to kick in with 20 minutes to
Mm,
go, and they're just going to. I feel like they're going to run home with it in the last 20,
yeah,
and the scoreline will be a bit wider than the actual game would make out.
yeah. I mean, I can put two hats on here, and I'll give you answers for both. First one is if I got my Wallabies cap on, my Australian cap on. If I'm an Australian preparing to get up in the early hours, to watch this on Sunday morning, of course I'm hoping for a Wallabies win and that they can build off what they did in that third test against the Lions. Because if they can do that, if they can knock off the Springboks in Joburg, like damn, I honestly think that puts the rugby world on notice a little bit that this Wallabies side is nowhere near the finished product, but they are very quickly building into something special. Realistically, like you said, I agree. I think the Springboks run away with it, especially at altitude. I don't think their backline is quite as polished or as dominant as what it usually is, to be fair. So I think, I'm not saying that's a weakness by any means, but I would say that I think there's an opportunity there for even relatively new combinations within the Wallabies, like Lenny Katau, Joseph Okusa-Suaalii, even Dylan Peach on the wing. Like if he can back up what he did in that third lines test, like there's an opportunity to strike there, you'd think. But I also think, if we're being neutral about it, the Springboks win, and I think it's the best thing for rugby that the Springboks go 2-0 against the Wallabies and the All Blacks go 2-0 against Los Pumas in Argentina. Because
Yeah.
could you imagine that third test of the Rugby Championship, Eden Park,
Yep.
50 game unbeaten streak for the ABs?
Hmm.
Springboks are coming to town, having won the last four games against the ABs. Poetry.
Money. Yeah, yeah,
Absolute
money.
cinema. There you go. But I do just want to say, sorry, South Africa, I'm not going to be there for All Blacks Springboks. And the reason I say that is because I've seen the All Blacks play the Springboks four times. Uh, Twickenham in 23, about 2 weeks before the World Cup started, the World Cup final at Stade de France, and the two tests in South Africa last year. Now, if you keep up with me here, the Springboks won all four. And I had people on Twitter atting the Springboks, asking them to pay for my flight so I could go watch them play every time they versus the All Blacks. But I'm not going to be at Eden Park, guys. So I think, who knows? Who knows what's
There
going to happen?
there you go. I like how you've turned that. I like that. But who knows? But you have mentioned it. All Blacks versus Argentina. These two teams. This is a loaded game.
Yeah,
It's the head-to-head clashes right through the starting 15s is unreal. Like that midfield of Huckleberries and Cinti versus Jordy Barrett and Billy Proctor. Yes, please. Absolute money. Will
yeah,
Jordan versus Juan Cruz Melia at fullback. That's what we want from Test rugby.
yeah. It's pretty blockbuster started across the board, right? And I think, you mentioned some of those players from Argentina, like genuinely world-class players. And
Yeah.
gone are the days where Argentina were just a glorified bye week. I think there was a time when when they first joined the Rugby Championship in 2012 where realistically were they ever going to beat the All Blacks or the Springboks? No, and it even they've had a few wins recently against the Wallabies in Australia, but they've grown to such a force where the last 12 months we all know this stat, but they've beaten the All Blacks, they've beaten the Springboks, they've beaten the Wallabies, and they've beaten the British and Irish Lions in Dublin.
Yeah,
And they came very close to beating Ireland in Dublin last year as well, who are practically the British and Irish Lions anyway. But that's anyway. Let's move on from that.
aye,
Um,
yeah, but
um, but yeah, I think there's um, an opportunity to strike here for Los Pumas.
mm,
I don't think the All Blacks have quite been as consistent or as dominant as what they would have liked in those three tests against France B, France C, however you want to brand it. Um, they should have won those games by more, and they nearly lost two of them, didn't they? Or there was at
yeah.
least, I think the first and the third test from memory, I think they were pretty nervy, especially that third test. France went up 10-0. So Argentina at home, Buenos Aires, pumping crowd. It's it's an incredible atmosphere over there. And if they can ride off that wave, then history could be about to be made, my friend. So we'll see how it plays out.
I mean, the time diff. I mean, it sucks more for you because you're 2 hours ahead of me.
Hmm.
Kickoff is 10 o'clock here, so you have to wait till midnight.
Yeah, yeah, I think it might be a watch in the morning type job, I think.
Fair enough.
For people listening, I'm quite randomly in Helsinki right now. I always wanted to come to Finland because my name's Finn and I thought it'd be funny. So here I am, basically yeah,
Is that actually the reason?
that's part of the reason. Yeah.
Part of the reason. Fair. You know what? Fair.
But
I'm more
it,
jealous of the fact you're getting to travel. I'm stuck at home. So
yeah, it's quite nice to be honest. Like after the Lions series, that Lions was pretty intense for 6 weeks. So it's nice to get on the road a little bit and chill out and then straight to Women's World Cup next week. So
yeah,
can't wait. But yeah.
I can't wait either. Not just for the games, but for those listening. Me and Finn are getting drunk next week in Manchester. So there we go.
Yeah, man, it'd be good fun. I think nice to see what Manchester has to offer, I think, and it'd be good crack.
Yeah. I don't know if Harry's going to any of the games, but
Yeah, need to tee that up, I think. I think he's avoiding me, actually. He
was
finds
he?
out I'm
Did he
coming to
not
the
answer the question?
sorry.
Did he genuinely? I seen you put in like, if you need any tickets, give me a shout. I don't know if he ever replied.
No, I don't think so. I think he's been a bit sick, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's heard that I'm coming to the UK and he's faking being sick. That's the impression I'm getting. So yeah. Hope you feel better, mate. No doubt you're watching. No doubt you're listening from somewhere, Harry.
Yeah.
But no, there's so much rugby on the next couple of weeks now.
There
It's
absolutely is.
nice. It's nice that a bit of code's back.
It's needed. I know it sounds like we're being over dramatic because it was only really a week and a half, really, of no
Yeah.
rugby. See, when you're constantly watching rugby, talking about rugby, going to rugby games,
Yeah.
and then you have that sudden stop, it is very strange. It's very unsettling.
Yeah. It just becomes a bit of part of your routine. And
Yeah.
so like case in point, like I'm solo traveling right now. I'm solo traveling for about 2 weeks and sometimes I'm just like walking down the street or something going, "Oh," but part of me feels empty. There's part of
Yeah,
me
yeah,
that's missing and it's a bit of Super Rugby, it's a bit of Lions series, it's a bit of All Blacks Rugby Championship on the telly at the end of the
yeah,
weekend, or even just talking about rugby. Like, that's my week usually, it's
yeah.
but
I
yeah,
completely agree. That's my bread and butter. That's why I make videos. That's why I do
exactly.
podcasts because I know my fiance and my parents with it, so they're like, take it
Go
somewhere else. I'm like,
go annoy
okay,
someone else. Yeah,
yeah, pretty much. But the
yeah,
joke's on them because my oldest child is now rugby obsessed, so
mate.
it continues.
You've done parenting well then. I think you've nailed it.
Uh-huh. I just need to try and sort out what position he wants to play. He says he wants to be a nine, but his name, he kind
Mm.
of has to play 10.
What's his name?
Carter.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, did you name him after DC?
Yeah, that's yeah,
Did
yeah,
you? Oh, that's
yeah,
so good.
yeah. The genuinely after DC. If I got away with it, his middle name would have been Daniel as well. But we
Yeah,
weren't that lucky.
that's
And
That's
if I got my way with my youngest, his name would have been Finn.
yeah. There you go. I'll take definitely about me.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 25. I don't have kids yet, but I've always thought it'd be funny if I ever have a daughter to name her Ruby with a silent G. Rugby.
Ah, I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, that's good.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So maybe one day. Who knows?
I like that. That's quite good. That's clever. I was thinking Ruby too,
Yeah. No. 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 I mean, she's an icon of the sport too, right? So maybe it could have a double meaning.
or
But
Portia. There you go.
yeah, and there's options out there.
There is absolutely. And that's another thing. Just sorry, side note, but
Mm,
that's how women's rugby is so good at where it is now because there is young girls now that
yeah.
I can't speak for like watching other countries, but like going to a Scotland game
Yeah.
and there's a little girl that's like, my favourite player is Chloe Rowley. Good. That's awesome. Be like Chloe Rowley.
Yeah.
Have your favourite players be Chloe Rowley, Lana Skeldon, Emma Orr.
This isn't a criticism of the men's game, but the women's game is so much different in terms of how it engages with fans. I think
Yeah.
it's quite special to be honest. And I'm saying this as a guy, so like I understand um I haven't lived the female experience, whatever, but like even I was thinking about it the other day about this World Cup because it's coming around quick and I
Mm.
feel quite proud to be working at it, to be honest. I think
That's awesome. Keep it.
what sport needs to entertain are two things, stakes and storylines.
Mhm.
And to put it even more simply than that, when sport feels like it's more than just a game for various reasons. And I can guarantee you that, these athletes about to compete at this World Cup, they're well aware that they're representing their countries in a tournament which is much bigger than rugby. You look at
Oh yeah.
England just winning the Euros in women's football. This is it's putting women's sport on the map in such an awesome way, engaging with fans. Like if you go on Blackfern's Instagram and you look up how they were bid farewell by I think a primary school in New Zealand, like it was such a party. And I've been there at Blackfern's games. I was there last year before Wallaroos, Blackferns, and Auckland's. I went to Captain's Run and just seeing how the players interact with the fans, like they're heroes. But
Yeah.
they're, I think BFFs. That's what the Black Ferns
Yeah.
refer to their fans as, right? And it's Black Ferns fans, best friends forever. It's real cool, genuinely really cool, and how it's
Right.
inspiring people. Even my sister doesn't really give a toss about rugby. She's my age. She don't, she enjoys it. Don't get me wrong, and she has to because she's dating a Welshman. But she
Huh.
um even just seeing on Instagram the other day, like just randomly, how you can see people have liked stuff like reels.
Mhm.
She's just started liking Black Ferns videos, or I think it was a
There you go.
Alona Mar video. Like it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty
I
cool.
mean, she is an icon on her own, Alona Mar.
Yeah, what she's doing for rugby is great, I think.
Mhm.
And I think it's going to be really cool this World Cup for, the fans that alone has generated to see other superstars of the women's game on show. Like
Mhm.
someone I really enjoy is Caitlin Valhalla from the Black Ferns. Her social
Yeah.
media content, if you, I don't know her handle off the top of my head, but she is so funny. And you wouldn't know she's a rugby player necessarily in some of her videos. And I think that's cool. She's relatable, and she's also a
Mhm.
killer player on the field too. She scored 4 tries against the Wallaroos in Brisbane last year. It was insane. Portia Woodman Wycliffe, back out of retirement, superstar. Even some of the Aussies, I'm biased, but Desiree Miller is really coming into her own.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's I could go on about this a lot, but it's this World Cup feels bigger than rugby, and I think we saw that in 2022 with the World Cup in New Zealand.
Mhm. Oh, it's great.
It's we're gonna have a what you'd think a sold out Twickenham for the final. I'm pretty sure if it's not sold out already, it's close, I believe. But
Yeah. True.
cool.
I can't watch the final live. I've just noticed this.
No way, why?
I'm getting married. It's the day of my wedding.
Ah, sounds like a pretty soft excuse. No, well,
Depends
congrats,
what
mate.
time kickoff is.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. You're just at the altar going, can we speed this up a little
So
bit?
yes, I do. Yes. Sorry,
Yeah.
what were we saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a fair reason. But no, it should be a
Yeah.
cool World Cup that. But it's yeah, a lot going on. Quite excited.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's it's great to talk about though, because I mean, even if you're regular listeners or you've been watching this channel since we started, we've got a lot of friends of the show
Mm,
representing their countries at this Rugby World Cup,
yeah.
and it's awesome. We've had some legends. We've had some goats of the game. We've had Kendra Coxedge, multi-time World Cup winner, come on for a
Mm,
chat. We've got Ciara Bevan, who's representing Wales. We've got Gwen Crabb, who's also representing Wales. Lana Skeldon, Jade Conkle of Scotland.
mm.
I'm gutted that they're not there because it would have been great. But the Levi sisters, who have been carving up the Sevens
Yeah.
circuit, they're friends of the show.
Yeah,
All Ellie Kildunn, the World Player of the Year, is a friend of the show. Emily Scarrett, looking to become a double World Cup champion.
mm.
Unreal. And they're all friends of the show because we actually give a shit about women's rugby. And they're great people as well. They're fantastic.
Yeah,
So,
they
yeah,
are. They are. They're genuinely very nice people
yeah.
in women's rugby. Yeah, very down to earth, humble. I think they
Mm,
understand that women's rugby hasn't always been on a stage like this.
mhm.
And it's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting. This World Cup's going to be a
That's
step
very
up. Even yeah, I think the Black Ferns and Wallaroos flying business class to the World Cup, like
very nice.
that's cool. Like
Yeah.
even just a luxury which if the All Blacks or the Wallabies were going to a World Cup in England, they'd be flying business, you'd think. So anyway, but yeah, should be a good World Cup next
It should
week.
be,
I think it
absolutely.
starts
Yeah.
in Manchester for you and I, Murray. So pretty keen, mate.
Yeah. I can't wait. But yeah, sorry for that side note, but it was an important side note that we had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, All Blacks versus Los Pumas at
Mm.
10 o'clock or midnight if you're with Finn.
If you're in Helsinki. Yeah. Yeah, it
It's
should
going
be.
to be a great game. It's definitely going to be worth staying up for, I would say.
Yeah, I'll be staying up, mate. Don't you worry.
Hey,
It's
good lad.
yeah, it should be a cracker, I think. And like I said, good opportunity for the Los Pumas to
Mm.
continue their kind of recent history against some of these teams, or at least continue to prove to the world that hey, that they are the real deal. Because I think there was
Yeah.
a period where Argentina, much like their football team, came alive at World Cups, but weren't quite that same force and
Mm.
outside of the World Cup, and
Yeah,
it's
I know what you mean. Yeah.
but the All Blacks as well. I think they need to make a statement. They really do
Hmm.
because they've got the Springboks only a couple of weeks away. I think this is the strongest possible team they could have named considering injuries. Obviously no Roy Gard, Tyrell Lomax, to name a couple. Strongest possible team they could have named. I would have liked to see Kyle Preston on the bench, uncapped
Okay.
player out of the
Yeah.
Crusaders. I think he's a gun. I think he's a really good talent, actually. But Finlay Christie there brings experience, having played a World Cup final. So,
I still
yeah,
don't know how we never picked him. That it still
yeah,
baffles me. Scottish born. Nah.
yeah. Because
Nah.
he was, I don't know if it was his debut. It might have been. Okay, for the
Is it?
purposes of this, I'm going to say it
Yeah.
is, but I might be wrong here. But I'm pretty sure he debuted for the Hurricanes against the Lions, the British and Irish Lions, in 2017. And they were wearing a really nice kit. I still remember it. It was like the black and gold. It was kind of a bit choppy, but it was nice.
Mhm.
He was brilliant. He was sensational. And obviously, generally, he was kept behind TJ Perenara. I don't know if he was behind Jamison Gibson Park much when he was at the Hurricanes. I don't know. My timeline's there, but obviously moved to the Blues, established All Black, had a good career in the black jersey. But I think as well, like, wasn't he? I think he was linked with. Sorry, he was linked with Newcastle, I think, right? So in
Yeah.
theory, he hasn't played a test in a year. He could have gone to Newcastle, played 2 seasons, and then played for Scotland potentially.
Mhm. I
Hype,
will. Yeah, yeah.
you know. But obviously the black jersey, the pull of that jersey is pretty special. Everyone in
Of
New
course,
Zealand
yeah.
knows that, right? So yeah,
I,
good on
I
him.
just think I just think it's funny that like Scotland in particular get a lot of bashing for picking players that aren't deemed as Scottish. Yet there's a Scotsman on the bench for the All Blacks.
That's honestly, it's a
It's
interesting one,
weird
that one,
because
isn't it?
I
Like,
think it's just because like I always use the Hugh Jones thing. Like Hugh Jones was playing in South Africa
Mm.
with the Stormers. Came on our radar. Oh, he's Scottish born, Scottish parents, blah blah blah. Get him in, and like didn't even hesitate. Like we got him straight in, and
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, Finlay Christie was born in Peebles.
Okay.
So the minute he started getting regular game time, you should have went, come here.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Um, they should have.
Unless
It
unless he
didn't.
said no, I don't know the ins and outs. There might have been a
It's a
conversation,
good point, actually.
and he
I
said no. But
don't know if that
like,
story's ever come out.
yeah, to my knowledge, it just feels like, oh, oops, we didn't pick him.
Yeah, lost opportunity, right? But Hugh
Yeah,
Jones, I will just say quickly, outstanding. Center of the Lion series, my view. It's brilliant.
unreal. It was great. Um, I don't really know what my prediction is for the All Blacks Los Pumas game. In all honesty, I think the All Blacks will win
Mm.
because you've got me intrigued with this. If they go 2 for 2, Box go 2 for 2,
Yeah,
and then you got that mighty clash at Eden Park. Which I mean, in all honesty, if both of them were to lose, going into Eden Park is still going to be a great game.
yeah, yeah. I
But
think
I get what you're saying with they're undefeated. They're going for the title. They're at the
mm, I mean,
the fourth.
for all that Argentina have done over the last
Mhm,
12 months in terms of their growth and the
mhm.
scalps that they've claimed in the rugby world, I still don't think they will go into test matches against the All Blacks yet as favourites, even if they're at home.
No, I
You
think
know,
that'll take a
like
while.
I was in Argentina 2 years ago. It seems like so long ago for me, but the last test the All Blacks played in Argentina, it was in
Mhm,
Mendoza, and I, there was similar things were said of that. Argentina, very dangerous team, physical, and then the All Blacks ran away with a huge win in Mendoza,
mhm.
and you can very well see something like that happening again tomorrow. Because keep in mind, the All Blacks, like I said, they haven't really clicked, have they? Like in those three tests against the French, I don't think they were quite where they need to be.
Yeah,
And
no, there
th
were there
there
were
is
glimpses, yeah, but not.
like not the full product. And I
No,
think there's
yeah,
there's going to be a moment where, bam, they come good. Hopefully, if you're a Kiwi, it's against the Box and at Eden Park, because
yeah.
I tell you what, if they lose that one, yeah, I think yeah, I think there's no doubt if the Box can win that, I don't think there's any doubt that they are the greatest rugby team of all time in terms of a dynasty,
Mm. Oh,
considering they've won two World Cups, they've won Rugby Championship, they won back the Freedom Cup. If they win at Eden Park, another scalp, they beat the Lions in a series. The All Blacks didn't do that in 2017, despite 2 years after being a year and a half after being the greatest team of all time perceived.
yeah,
2015, I think they're obviously outstanding, but it's hard to argue with Rassi's CV if they can get up here.
that's true. That's very true. Oh, it's going to be interesting. This rugby championship's going to be very,
I think
very
there's a
exciting.
bit more hype about it than normal, and I think it's
Mm.
great. I think there's a bit more on the line, and part of that's because of obviously there's always going to be hype with the All Blacks because not expect to win this competition. It's not easy, but that's the expectations they have of themselves, right? That's the pass mark, I think, for
Yeah,
them, is that they want to win everything. Fair enough. So did the Springboks now. The fact that they broke that drought last year by winning the TRC, that's huge for them, but they want to go back to back.
yeah.
Starts against the Wallabies. The Wallabies just coming off against one of their most memorable performances in recent memory. You could argue their most important result in the professional era. Oh, actually, you got the 99 World Cup in this millennium, I'd say, since 2000. I think that went
Okay.
over the lines considering everything that's happened over the last few years in Australian rugby. Huge.
Right.
And fans want to see them build. And then you've
Mm.
got Argentina, who, like I said before, have beaten the Box, beaten the ABs, beaten the Lions, beaten the Wallabies, nearly beat Ireland. They'll want to make a statement. It's all to play for. There's so much on the line here for every single team.
I think we're close on both sides of the hemisphere. I'd like to think we're pushing for Six Nations and Rugby Championship where any team can beat anyone. So every game you
Mm,
have to watch. There's no easy games. There's no bye weeks essentially, like you were saying earlier.
yeah.
Like every game, you're like, I don't know if like All Blacks Argentina, like what we're talking about. Like I think the All Blacks will win, but there is a bit that like Argentina's a good team. They could easily do it.
Well, something special could happen. It happened
Yeah,
in Christchurch last year I think.
yeah.
They won. They won during COVID in Sydney when the Rugby Championship was based in Australia. Um, so yeah, anything can happen. Who knows? Maybe,
Anything can happen.
maybe, just maybe. And I'm looking at that gold jersey just over your shoulder, mate. Maybe the Wallabies do something special at Ellis Park. But
Maybe.
that is Ellis Park, I will just say, my favourite venue I've been to in rugby. It's just
I've never been.
yeah,
It's one for the
magical.
the bucket list, but I've not. I've been to a lot of games, but not very many stadiums.
Right, okay. A lot of Murrayfield, I presume. I'm still yet
A
to go
lot of
there.
my
So
field, a lot of Edinburgh. I go down to Wales every time Scotland go down.
cool.
Um, Sandy Park for Exeter Chiefs, and I've been across to Scotstoun where Glasgow Warriors play a few times. That's it. That's the only stadiums I've been to.
Yeah, okay.
But it's
That's
like over 100, easy.
well, you get to tick off Salford Stadium in just over a week.
Yeah, it wasn't on the It wasn't on the bucket. I would have liked to. No, sorry, I've been to Kingsholm as well in Gloucester.
Yeah,
Been
okay.
there.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah. It's if it wasn't for
it's
your
pretty
wedding, you could go to Twickenham too. But you're gonna
true.
get married.
Yeah,
Damn.
I, we were already meant to be married. That was meant to happen last year, but
Right. Okay.
a bit
Yeah,
too
like
expensive to have a baby and a wedding in the same year. So
I thought, and that would have been perfect, right? In between the men's and women's World Cups.
yeah.
That's in a World Cup free year. That makes sense.
No Lions, no World Cup.
No, no. Geez, I don't know, mate. It's yeah.
I'll
No, it'd
drop the
be
ball there because I think the URC actually kicks off that weekend as well. So
true.
I've absolutely dropped the ball here.
Mate, you're getting married, that's a win.
There's a
Um,
win. It's just now I'm like at the reception just checking the scores. Like, come on, yes.
yeah.
Or get the DJ to like every like 10-minute interval. Like the score is now.
Yeah, yeah, just updates every like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
halfway through a song, and that's halftime, folks. Here's the
Try Duhan Vandermeer. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be great. Just every
Yeah.
2 minutes, just people are going, "Way!"
That'd be a pretty good crack at the reception, actually. Be quite
If
funny.
I mean, if you're about, if you're still in the UK,
I'll be at the World Cup final.
oh, Mr. Reporter.
I would have loved to go actually, otherwise, but I'll uh I'll shout you a few congratulatory beers in the lead up to it instead.
That's
Yeah.
fine. My beers will be cheaper than the ones you'll have at Twickenham, so it'll be all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Christ. Um,
um, but yeah, no, it's going to be great. Rugby Championship's back. There's going to be a lot of talking points. And then, yeah, next week's going to be wild because you've got the second round of Rugby Championship. The Pacific Nations Cup kicks off next week.
mm,
And as we've already spoken about very heavily, because we are so hyped,
mm.
Rugby World Cup starts next week.
It's a good time to be a rugby fan.
It is. It comes round. It comes round so quick. And
Mm.
then for those 10 days, you have nothing to talk about. You immediately have too much to talk about the following week. So,
It's a good problem to have, I think. At least it is
but
now.
then,
Not so
well,
much in those 10 days.
you'll know because you make content as well. But like trying to balance out when to do certain videos and
Mm.
how many videos in a day, and
Yeah. It's a balancing act, right? But again, good problem to have too many rugby games on, having too much to juggle these next couple of weeks, but it should be good.
basically, yeah. Well, that's pretty much it for this week because just the two games this week. But we've gave a little snippet into the Rugby World Cup and how important it is, and we spoke about me and you getting drunk next week. All the important things have been mentioned.
Yeah,
That's the main,
all the essentials.
and most importantly, Harry is ducking Finn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually, Yeah, I want a response actually. Explanation. I just want to know. I just want to know why, you know.
He didn't sound too ill on the phone, and he is an actor.
This
It's,
is true. It was kind of
yeah.
just like to just to try and like recreate it for people listening. It was kind of like hey guys, I'm sick. I can't talk to Finn today. That's basically how I heard it. So
Pretty much,
um
yeah. And he's probably just like ended it and chucked it and like, right,
yeah.
out we
I think
go.
he's just been washed over by the sense of just like relief, you know, just like been stressing about it for a week, going, how the hell do I get out of this? Uh, no, I hope you feel better, mate, if you are listening.
Yeah, so he'll probably be back next week. And then I've just realised there's one problem going forward with this podcast during the World Cup.
So
Harry's English.
uh,
We're never going to
probably,
hear the end of it.
England probably won't win the World Cup, will they?
Well,
No,
I
they
did say
should.
to I did say to them if they don't, it is 8 years completely wasted.
It's not wasted. Again, I think, but I think the pressure on them is pretty big, right? It has to be. You know,
It's
considering how
getting,
dominant they've
but
been, you know, in the last two World Cup cycles, they've lost one game, and it was that World
yeah,
Cup final.
that's what I mean though. If you can go undefeated for so long and then lose two games and both them being World Cup finals,
Yeah.
everything you have built up.
Yeah. You'd almost, yeah, almost losing to France last weekend would have been a good thing so they could just take the pressure off a little bit. Actually, no, it wouldn't
Yeah,
have been, but like, you know, I don't know.
no, I know what you mean though. It would have been like,
They've
oh,
just set the bar so high for themselves.
yeah. I mean, the depth is the talent England have. Just before we sign off, just the talent they've got, the
Mm,
depth they've got. It's frightening. And the worrying bit is like none of their games in the last like 12 months have been nail biters. They just run away with it.
yeah.
And I'm just
It's a
you just
sign
kind of
of
sit there like, oh my God.
it's hard. It's honestly hard to pinpoint a weakness in that team. And
Yeah,
even if
it
you
is.
look at the strengths of other sides like New Zealand, France, Canada in particular,
Mm,
it's hard to look at those sides and go, well, how can they exploit something in this English team? You know, like I think the Black Ferns will be better considering, you know, you think about the players that they've brought in, especially from the Seven Series and stuff. Like
mm,
there is star power there. But man, England, they're just such a well-oiled machine that
mm.
even like I was there in Brisbane earlier this year, a few months ago during Pac 4 when Canada smashed the Wallaroos. And I was watching that game and I was going, Christ, I just don't know if there's a weakness in this Canada team. But realistically, if you compare them to England, it it's probably you would think a 15, 20 point difference.
Yeah. The scary bit though, I will say, the scariest bit about Canada is they don't get paid. Like how good would they be
Yeah,
if they were on full time?
yeah. Honestly, the second best team in the world in women's rugby, and I think they
Mm.
deserve more attention
Oh, 100%. Oh
for
shit,
that.
I forgot to mention one of our friends of the show that's at the work. Sophie de Goody.
Sophie, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, such an she's not in the squad though, is she?
I think she might be. I'm sure she's back. I don't know. I'll double check now.
But yeah, I think it would be great for rugby if it'd be great for rugby if Canada win this World Cup. Just having um oh no, Sophie is in the squad. Yeah, she is.
Oh, yes.
Um yeah, just having a team like Canada win this World Cup, a nation which isn't a traditional rugby nation, you know,
Yeah,
I think that'd be pretty cool. So keen to see how it plays out.
absolutely. Well, there'll be a lot to talk about. Maybe not next week because me and you are at the games, so it's going
Yeah.
to be a bit trickier to record. But definitely, again, World Cups are tricky because there's always games on.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah. There's not many midweek games, I think. Oh no, we'll find time. We'll find
we'll
time if
sort
that's what
it
you
out.
want to do.
We'll sort it.
There's plenty
It's
to
just
chat about.
that's how we operate.
Maybe
Yeah.
we can have a chat after 17 beers next week in Manchester. Click record and see how that goes.
I'm actually going for that. It'd be quite funny. Just
Yeah,
startly sway at the camera.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That'll be an interesting listening back to that the next morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
going back to edit it and be like,
yeah,
oof,
yeah.
nah. But Always a pleasure having you on, bud. And
Yeah,
enjoy the
appreciate
rest
it.
of Helsinki. Where are you staying in Helsinki till you get to England,
No,
or?
I'm actually off to Estonia in 2 days. Go there for
Very
a night.
nice.
Going to Tallinn for a night, and then go to Stockholm for 3 nights. Then to
The
Manchester.
man is everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Sick of planes.
You're
Maybe a
second
little
point.
bit.
No, I bet.
It's be nice to be in the UK though. Quite keen for that, to be honest. It'd be good fun.
So you're in the UK the whole duration of the World Cup.
Yes, sir. Fly out the day after the World Cup final straight to Perth for the Bledisloe. So it's all happening.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. But then I get to go
how,
home. So
how I
after that,
envy how I envy you though. That'd be great.
yeah, no, man, it's very lucky, eh? Very lucky. But it's a pretty good sport, this one. So
Mm,
get
absolutely.
to get to meet some nice people, which is nice.
True. Well, we'll leave it there. We'll be back some point during the World Cup. I don't know
Uh,
when, but we'll sort it out. Yeah, enjoy the Rugby Championship this weekend. If you like Finn, go and follow Finn on Instagram and on TikTok. If you like what I do, be sure to do the same. I'm at Boss4Rugby. If you like, if you like this podcast, hit the subscribe button. We're on YouTube predominantly. We try and do this mostly on YouTube, but the page has a TikTok page as well with little snippets. So get over there, hit that follow button, like, comment, get interactive with us. Because if you chuck in a question, one of us will be able to answer it. So
yeah.
yeah, it'll be good. But yeah, we'll be back next week, hopefully, with a lot more rugby to talk about. And in the meantime, yeah, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time.